Hello, folks. Am I audible properly? If you folks can hear me properly, or if you folks can see me, can you type one in the? Thanks a lot, Dharmendra. So, folks, we talk in zeros and ones, okay? So, whenever I am asking a question, you can type one or zero in the chat. One for yes and zero for no. Okay. Awesome. Quickly, let's start with the introduction, and then we'll proceed with the session. I'll give you a quick glimpse, like what we'll be doing. Today, we will be having two sessions. Um, both of the sessions will have around 45 to 50 minutes of knowledge and then Q&A. First, I'll introduce myself and the TTT, what we have done till now, and about the upcoming events. And then we'll proceed with the first session, then the second session, and Q&A will be going simultaneously. Perfect. How many of you know me? It's been a very long time since I have hosted online events, so really excited. Okay, a lot of folks who know me. I'll tell you, like I am Arun. I'm here in the founder's office. I take care of the whole community side. So if you are having any sort of doubt with regards to test drive, I'm the one whom you can reach out. For sure, you can reach out to anyone. Everyone will welcome you. Awesome. I'll just start my stage. Folks, is my screen visible to you? Yep, now I think it is. Awesome. Like I said before, welcome to 35th virtual meetup. Today we'll be having two sessions. First session will be taken by Kunal. Kunal is our very old community member and a really good friend of Test Drive. We have been always there for any sort of help. So really glad to host him. And then Srinidhi Rajakrishnan will be going. So before before starting, a huge shout out to Browser Stack. They are our annual sponsor for all our community events, and they're our premier sponsor for all our conferences. Next, how many of you folks are attending our event for the first time? If you are attending the event for the first time, you can type one in the chat. If not, you're one of our old member, old friend, you can type zero in the chat. Pankaj is attending the event for the first time. Shiv Prakash is also attending the event for the first time. Okay, I'll give you a quick glimpse about Test Drive. We are world's largest software testing community turned edtech startup. We started in the year 2018 with the mission to give testing craft the glory it deserves, while we co-create smarter, prouder, and confident testers. Okay, where we are till now, like I said before, we are world's largest software testing community. We have done 300 plus events so far. Around 130, 120K global testers are involved with us. We are present in 30 plus cities across the globe where we do our physical meetups, and over 100 plus countries virtually. We do conferences, meetups, workshops, hackathons, webinars, and a lot more. This is what we do. And about Final Circle, there are a lot of folks who are attending event for the first time. I'll give you a glimpse about what is Final Circle. If you are looking for the growth in your career, there are two major things which is really important. First is people, the right set of people, and the second one is knowledge. So in Final Circle, this is what we promise. You can see we promise you courses and live cohorts, AI ready masterclasses, 360 growth masterclasses. In 360 growth masterclass, we teach you a negotiation and how to make content, to each and everything which requires you to have the growth in your career. You can have mentorship with the industry leaders. You can practice with making projects and an exclusive community with the Final Circle members. And there are few members here. They can also tell like how their experience is. Perfect. We'll be doing a boot camp on 1st of March. The topic is Master Web Automation with Playwright and TypeScript. The session will be taken by Vignesh. So if you are someone who want to learn about Playwright and TypeScript, do register for the boot camp. I think Derek will uh, post a poll regarding that. You can just react on yes. And on 17th, we will be doing a webinar. The topic is filtering out bugs at each software layer by leveraging AI. And the session will be taken by Himang, and he's a director of quality assurance at Rocket Lawyer. These are the two links where the feedback form and the Discord community. About the Discord community, we are having over 11, I think 12,000 folks now. You can come and join. You can ask any sort of question. There are members who will help you out. Software testing salary report, folks. If you are someone who want to know that if you're getting paid well, and what is exactly industry standard, where whenever people say that okay, this is the industry standard, with location to with respect to your role, you will be getting very insightful information, insights about how testers are getting paid in the whole. This report is wholly focused on Indian audience, but this is very, very, very important for you folks. You folks should read it out. Awesome. Now I will call up Kunal on the stage. He can give us a quick intro about himself, and then we will be good to go. Just a second. Call up. Yeah, I think Kunal is on the stage. Hi, Kunal.
Hello, hey Aaron. Hey everyone, how are you guys?
Folks, you can type it in the chat. Kunal, you can give us a quick intro about yourself, and then we are good to go.
Perfect. Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Kunal. I'm currently based in Singapore and I work as a senior test automation engineer at 8x8. I have been in this field of testing for more than 10 years now, and I have worked with various product-based, service-based companies, and I have developed many automation tools. And I have done many sessions with the test tribe that Arun was mentioning before around automation, talks, be it boot camps or something else. I see some of you are from the boot camp as well. So thank you for joining today. And my today's session is a bit different. It's not around automation, rather it's around testing. There is a lot of buzz of AI these days. So I thought, okay, let's take a break from AI. Let's focus a bit more on testing. That's what my talk is about. But while doing so, we will see how we can leverage AI to it. So slight use of AI, but more around testing and what we can do with it. Okay. So I think I'll get started now. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in Q&A. And initially this talk was designed to be an interactive talk because it was in-person event, but given we are doing it online, I won't be able to, talk with you guys or interact much because of time constraints. So there are some polls which I'll share your way. I'll get the understanding of what you think, and based on that, I'll drive my talk as well. Okay. So this all depends on how you guys respond to the answer, and based on that, I'll decide what flow and what areas I need to cover more. Okay. Any questions before I get started? If so, put it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer. Okay, seems like no. Okay, let's get started. So be a traveler, not a tourist. How many of you are familiar with this saying? You can type in 0 and 1, yes or no, react with something, whatever you like. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I see some yes. So people who are saying yes, can you just quickly tell me what does it mean? What does it mean to be a traveler and not a tourist? Enjoy the journey. Okay. Respect the culture of the place. Okay. Thanks, Rajiv. Going to see new places, Siddhant. Okay. Okay. So you all have said a bit of what it means. Traveling gives you understanding of new things. Thank you there. Okay. I'll give you my take on it. Okay. So this is the difference that I got from online, which compares a tourist and a traveler. It says tourist observes, this checks out, they complain, they are oblivious to the environment, whereas a traveler is experiencing new things, they are blending in the culture, they are curious to find out more about the place they are visiting, and they are sensitive and respectful towards others where they are visiting. So, to summarize it, what does it mean is when a tourist travel, they have a fixed list. I am going to this destination. These are the popular touristy place that I want to cover. These are the popular touristy restaurant that I want to eat at. And because they have a time constraint, they're like, okay, I'll take a cab. I'll go from point A to point B, do this, point C. So they have like a strict timetable that they follow. That's the definition of tourist. Whereas a traveler would be like, I know these are the popular destinations. I know these are the popular cafes which I want to do, but I also want to go off path. I also want to go in those lanes, talk to locals, find out the hidden gems that are being popular these days now, where we all search for hidden gems in the city. So that's what traveler does. They try to look for such things and they go off path than what a normal tourist would do. That's the difference between a tourist and a traveler. Okay. And this talk is more around being a traveler for testing and not a tourist for testing. Okay, what do I mean by that? You will uncover it more and more as we progress. So I'll explain this entire concept to you in this 5 steps. I'll introduce you to the topic. What does the topic mean? And then how to be a traveler while testing. I'll cover it in these 5 steps, which we will do one by one. So let's begin with introduction. So how many of you are familiar with this image? Yes, no, zero, one, whatever you like. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Okay. Everyone is saying yes. I would be surprised if someone said no. Okay, which is good. So this is a typical test case that has been going on since the beginning of testing. It has progressed. There are certain new fields over here, which was not there in the initial version, but it is still a test case template that many of us use these days. And we spend a lot of time writing this. And the more time you invest in documenting something, is the time you take away from actual testing or learning about your product. Okay. So this was working well in waterfall model when we had like 3 months time to deliver some feature. But as we move into agile mode, people started complaining we don't have enough time to document stuff, to test it, to log the bugs, do follow up. So people were like, okay, let's come up with a better version of it, which is your BDD language, where you can relate with your developer, you can relate with your business manager, project manager, and so on. But it is still requiring you to invest time in writing something. Okay. So again, it comes back to my initial point. The time you invest in documenting something is the time you take away from testing. Okay. And again, these are like proper checklists that we write before you start testing. So you are still being a tourist to your product where you are like, okay, I want to test this feature with this data set. If I am done with all of that, I would conclude my testing is done. Correct? So it's same as being a tourist. So my question is, let's say you have hundreds, thousands of test cases, and when you join a new company, I give you all those test case suite. I was like, okay, read through it. Once you say you have gone through all the cases, I would assume you fully understand the product just by reading it. Okay. Now I'll launch a poll and I want you to react if you agree with this comment or if you don't agree with the comment. So just by going through some list of documents, can you say you fully understand the product? I'm not sure how many people have voted, but so far it looks 100% no. Okay, some have started saying yes, yes. Okay, now I see the percentage moving. Okay, we are 72. I see 30 votes so far, out of which perfect. So I believe we have some good testers, some good experienced testers today on this session where people are saying no, because so far, whenever I ask this question, I think more than 50% of them would be like, yes, because we are learning about the product by reading something, we know the product well, but that's not the case. So I'm glad you all are answering no to this. So if you voted no, you are right. And I was going to cover this example for the people who were planning to vote yes. So because there was a bit of percentage of yes, I will cover it quickly. I won't spend much time. Okay. So let's say you have been given a requirement where you have to build a login form and you created your test cases, you drafted everything based on what was written in the requirement, and you said, okay, I tested it, everything works fine, and we are good to release. Okay, this is the current stage that we are discussing. Now, at the end of this, I will ask you two questions. So, my first question is, can a user log into the application? Okay, so if you have tested this product based on what was written in the requirement, can you answer to it saying, can a user log into the application? A simple yes and no question. Let me publish it. Can you guys vote for the question? I'm not sure if I did the right thing. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm a bit surprised. People who are voting for no, can you please put your comment like, if you have tested a product as written in the requirement and you certify that this feature works, then if I'm asking you if a user can log into the application, why are you replying as no? But Govind, I understand you are saying it's a happy flow, but that's my question, right? Happy flow is we want the user to log into the application, which was the intention of building this functionality. He should be already registered, then only he can become a user. Please don't go into technical details. Just focus on what's written over here. Okay, I understand where you are coming from. You need to sign up, then only you can log in, but we have those capabilities in place. Now we are just asking if they can log in or not. Weber, you are right. A lot of things are not mentioned, which is my second question, but I'm glad you brought it up. What about internet connectivity issue? Uh, Again, Siddhant, what you are saying is true. It's a completely valid question, but it doesn't impact on the login functionality. Login functionality only works when you have an internet, correct? If there is no connectivity issue and you want to check how it reacts, that's a risk you are trying to evaluate. That's not the feature that was built. Okay. Okay. So I see there is a bit of variations in answer. People are thinking from different perspective, which is good. Being a tester, you should be able to think from different perspective. So many of you have already answered my second question. Are there any risk? So the concerns which you guys are raising is more around second question when I ask, what risk do you foresee? Where you see, what if the internet is not good? What if the credentials are not validated properly? Are we encrypting it properly or not? I don't know what is being passed in my HTTP request. I don't know what is being stored in the database. So unless you go and look into those paths, you won't know if there are any risk. If you just follow the proper requirement guideline, we cannot say if there are any risk. You can say, okay, the functionality works or not based on what was written. But until you go off path, until you become a traveler, you cannot say what's wrong with the application. So these are the two things that we are doing right now. When you confirm something which is working as written in the requirement document, you are checking a product for what it was intended to do. We wanted a login module where user can log in. Okay, we are checking if it is working properly or not. But to understand if there are any risk around login module, you have to do a bit of exploring, which no one writes in any of the requirement document. Again, Govind is right, which is where we think out of the box. Where things can go wrong, we go off track, non-requirement things, which is where we invest most of our time. So when people ask, when will your testing finish? We say we don't know because there are so many things to explore that we are never sure if we have tested something completely, which is not possible, by the way. But that's the loop we are stuck in. So when we cannot answer something, we are still exploring. So testing requires both checking and exploring. Happy flow works most of the time, but users don't follow happy flow. They do weird stuff which will break your system, which is where we need to do a lot of exploring, a lot of risk evaluation to come to a conclusion saying the high priority risks that I foresee are already being catered to. So if there is any issue which user would experience is not as critical as we would receive. Okay. So a basic difference between checking and exploring. Checking just checks if software meets the criteria. We can script it using automation, we can repeat it, we can confirm the facts, and it generally results in an outcome, which we say test oracle, if something has passed or failed. Exploring is more of unscripted and adaptive approach where you see how the application is reacting to your input. So you investigate further, oh, why is it reacting like this? You uncover some more issues and then you come up with an open-ended question. If the system is not behaving how you expected you would, you don't know if that's an issue or not because developer would have had different approach or different mindset while building it. So you raise open-ended questions which you brainstorm with your team saying, application is behaving like this. My expectation was it would do something else, but both points are valid and let's brainstorm what is the actual user flow. So that's when we try to get more answers from our product. And this is done with the help of testing heuristics. So checking is more of an test oracle, exploring is more of test heuristics where you use different methods. I know these are the new terms, but anyone over here knows what are test heuristics? You can just put yes or no in the comment. There's no poll for it. Yes, okay. Anyone who doesn't know what a test heuristics is, have heard, okay, Udaya says no. Okay, just to give you a quick example, let's say you want to open a bottle of pickle jar, okay? Now the lid is too tight for you to open. You cannot open it with your bare hands. What is the next thing you would do? Can you put it in the comment? Use cloth, correct? What if you are using a cloth and you still cannot open it? Cut the lid with a knife. Okay, Ujjwal, my question is, there is a bottle of pickled jar and the lid is too tight, so you cannot open it. So what would you do to open the lid of the bottle? So someone said covered cloth, cut the lid with a knife, apply more pressure. Another alternative would be banging on the marble or wood to make sure a little bit pressure comes off. Okay, so we know to achieve certain result, there are different ways to go about it, correct? So whatever you guys are describing is a heuristic. If I want to open a bottle of jar, what can I do? So test heuristics are similar, where, sorry, I was just laughing at the joke. Give the jar to dad. Okay. Uh, okay. So test heuristics are somewhat similar. They take you to your answers quickly. So there are some test heuristics models that you can use. I'll share a bit of it in the end of the slide as well. And it is just taking you to your answer quickly. It is not a best practice, but it is a good practice to use heuristics because you save a lot of time and you can switch quickly to one heuristics to another to see how the application is reacting. Okay. So we have covered a lot of base. Now, given this topic is exploring in testing, so what is that? Let me begin with that. Okay. Exploring in testing is a shift. It's a shift from traditional approach that we were writing, which was we first write all the test cases, then we look at the product, we start testing, in the end we say, oh, passed or failed. So it's a shift from that to more flexible approach where you're curious about learning about the product. Okay. You have a basic idea in mind. Like I said, a traveler would know what are the popular destination, what are the popular cafes. So being an exploratory tester, you would know what are the main flows you are trying to test, what are the checkpoints you are trying to test. But while doing so, you would also go off path based on how application react, and you would uncover more areas, you would uncover more risk that you are trying to evaluate. So when someone asks you those two questions, you have answers ready for both of them. Okay. The definition of exploratory testing is something like it's a simultaneous learning, test design, and test execution. Okay. It's not pre-written. It's happening simultaneously at runtime where you are learning about the product, you are designing a test based on your last experiment, and you are continuing a new execution. And this definition was given to us by Dr. Cam Canna. And like I said, exploratory can be time consuming. You don't know when you go off path. So we have to make sure we box it in a proper manner where we dedicate certain amount of time to certain things. That's when we give structure to our exploring using test charters and session-based test management approach, which is again given by James and John Bach. Okay. Can exploratory testing be automated? Okay. Exploratory testing, like I said, it happens at runtime where a product reacts in a certain way and you derive your next test based on how it reacted. In automation, you don't know how the product is going to react. I'll go back to my previous slide where I mentioned checking can be automated because we know a set of checks that we are trying to evaluate. Exploring is intuitive, it is unscripted, it happens at runtime based on your previous result. Once you have done exploring, you know what you are looking for, you can automate that part. But exploratory testing in itself cannot be automated. Okay. Now, okay, if this part is clear to you, let me know in the comment yes, no, because we have covered the main crux of this talk. Now we are just looking into steps on how to get there. Okay, I see yes, clear, yes, clear. Okay, perfect. I see 4 yeses, no other messages, so I'll go ahead. Okay, so it all begins at requirement level. Testers should be involved at requirement level. We should start be investing our time right here before even the development begins. Okay, why so? Let's understand with the help of an example. So let's say we are creating a new endpoint called TTT event. Okay, what this would do is this would maintain a database of all the events that have happened with test drive, and our API payload would have country, city, title, speaker name, event date, and the material URL, whatever the speaker had presented. And when we send this or when we call this API, in response, you get an event ID, which is a unique UUID or UMID for the event, a message that we have received the request successfully, and the date on which the event got entered in the database. Okay, clear on the requirement? Now, my question to you is, can we begin developing with this requirement? Okay, we all know what we are building, we all know what we are looking for. So can we right away develop this requirement? I'll publish a poll. Let's see. Okay, you should have a poll on your screen now. Let's do yes and no, simple. I'm not going into much detail. I don't see anything on the poll. Did I publish it correctly? I think I published it. Okay, sorry, my bad. Can we begin development with this requirement? I see yes, I see no. Okay, it's a tough call between both the options. 18 votes so far, 19. Okay. Okay, I see a lot more of yeses than no. So I'll continue with the talk. Okay, so people who have voted yes, this question is specifically for you. Okay, so when you send a request when you send this request, what would be the value of your country field? Can you put it in the comment? People who have said no, please let other people talk who have said yes. So if you are sending this request to the test tribe, what value would you send in the country parameter? Take from a list. What is the value in the list? Again, this is not UI, this is API where there is no drop down for a list. So you have to pass some value directly to it. Okay. Seems like you guys are thinking about it. Okay, I know it's a string value. What would be the value of it? I know you won't pass 0 or 1 to a country. That would be in the requirement where the session is held. Dharmendra, right, but this is the requirement. There is no other detail apart from that. Okay, so I think I was not being clear. So country would have some value. Now, some people are saying string or a country code. So it can either be India, INDIA as a string, or it can just be IN as a country code, correct? So you don't know what value are you sending over there. You don't know if the country and city has a relation or not because it is not written over here. If it was UI, we would assume some UI engineer or front end engineer would develop those drop downs, dependent drop downs, where you select a country, it shows you all the state, you select a state, it shows you all the cities. But given this is direct API, we don't know how the application would react. Okay. Now again, event date. So do you think this event will be created before the event itself? We will call this request before the event itself, or we will call this request after the event. So can event date be of past date if we are calling it after? If we are calling it before, then how will I get the material URL from the speaker? There are so many questions on just this requirement that I don't think my developer would be ready to build this, or I would be ready to test it. This is why we need to be involved right from the beginning so we can answer all these questions. So when do you see a new set of requirement? How do you approach it? Do you have a model that you follow? Uh, or how do you go about it? Just in comments if you can write something. Okay, if I'm not seeing any values, I'll continue with the talk. So I'm sharing my requirement. Okay, now I see some. Discuss with dev, then PM. Okay, ask the PM about expectation. We will analyze it for no specific model. Okay, so you guys are doing a bits and pieces of communication and collaboration. So I'll share my model. What I do is I gather requirement from multiple sources, starting from project requirement document where everything begins, and then later it moves on to your communication platform. It can be Slack or Teams or something else because no one updates project requirement document after the initial kickoff. And once it goes to communication platform, it's easy that people would talk it out if you are in the same venue, in the same office, and the information would just remain in their mind and it won't be anywhere. So I gather my requirement from these three sources. And what I do when I'm mapping it out, I'll create a mind map of all the information I have gathered. What it does is it tells me if there is any uh, difference of opinion between what was written to what was shared in communication and stakeholders platform, and it gives me clarity and a bigger picture what's missing. So from the previous requirement, if I just look at it, I feel, oh, this looks good enough to start developing and building. But until I go into bits and pieces of each and every word that is written over there, I don't get the clarity. So mind mapping gives me certain type of clarity. Okay, this is what we are doing. This is what is missing. This is what is present. This is where the conflict is there between two members or two department. So when I start doing this, it tells me what is clear and testable. It tells me what lacks clarity, like the country field. It also tells me what's not written. Like in previous requirement, we didn't know if anyone in the globe can send this request, or you have to be a member of a test tribe with valid API key. No one talked about it. So some things are not written and some things are implicit or explicit. So for example, the title field. What would be the max length of the title field? My developer knows we can only support maximum 255 characters in database. So he's under the assumption max length is 255. But what if my product owner thought the title could be very big and we need to support 500 or 1000 characters? So some requirement can be implicit or explicit that you need to voice out and let others know we are not clear on it. Okay. So this is what I do. I create a visual model for the requirement. If I have a note, I write what am I assuming. If I have a question, I put it out. If there are any risk I foresee, I put it out. And I discuss this with my developer, engineering manager, project manager. I circulate this with everyone. I'm not trying to pinpoint a mistake. I'm just trying to have a collaborative approach where everyone aligns on the same thing before we start building and testing something. Okay. This is the initial model. As I gather more answer, I would start creating more and more refinement to it. Shubhangi said backlog grooming. Yes, backlog grooming help as well. This is happening in parallel to backlog grooming. So before grooming, we are handed over a sheet. This is the requirement that we will be grooming. I create this model based on our grooming discussion. I would mark everything that has been answered. I would raise new topics that have not been answered, not have been documented, and we go about it from there. So just a zoomed in picture if the previous image was not clear. How do I highlight stuff on a mind map? So once I'm done with this, I feel like we all have tunnel vision. We all have biases where we think in a certain way. Like I mentioned before, my developer would have a different perspective of developing. I would have something else in mind. So what I do is, when I'm done with drafting everything I think of, I feel like there is something more to it which I didn't cater to. So then what I do is I take them to ChatGPT. Again, we have a paid model of ChatGPT, so it's secured enough for us to share anything in the model. But if you are using a free version, please do not post anything over there. And I use certain prompting techniques. So there is a website called Prompt Engineering Technique. You would see the reference to it on bottom right. You can go to this site. It will list you all this different kind of technique you can use. So this first technique is called meta prompting. It has been shared by Rahul Parwal, who is very active in testing community, and source is again added over here. You can go to his site. There are multiple prompts that you can use. And this is the prompt he used where we are telling the GPT that uh, you are acting as a certain individual. You are acting as an expert software tester who knows what you are doing in a context driven environment. And I am looking for certain answers from you, which is tell me questions that are not answered in the requirement. Give me certain notes, risk, test idea, certain bugs that you foresee, and how we can make this requirement better. So next certain size that you see is just response from GPT. So it tells me all this parameter. Country field, how are you storing it? CT can be anything. What is the title length? What characters are you accepting? What is the URL? The response doesn't highlight error message. Okay, so same thing that we discussed before, but now there are certain more variations that ChatGPT told me that I didn't think of before. Like I always assume response would be a success response. Okay, and certain note, should we have a public URL or an authenticated user? Lack of input validation, error handling, missing authorization, these are the risk. And some test ideas, positive, negative edge case, certain around security as well. So I was solely focused on certain aspect before. Now ChatGPT tells me there is more to it that you can do. So I won't go and perform everything right away. I would keep a note of it. I would discuss with my stakeholders. See, these are the different areas. These are the different risks that we foresee. Which one do we want to prioritize while testing? And again, everything is collaborative. It's not like I'm doing something on my own and I'm telling my stakeholders I will take 5 days without giving them insight why I need 5 days. So everything is being shared. Okay. Some improvement on how we can refine the requirement. So once we have done that, let me just quickly check how much time do I have. Can someone from the TTT team confirm? Okay, I think we started. I don't have much time. I'll go a bit quickly so that you guys understand the context. Okay, so we know we have to do a lot of stuff, but we have to give it certain kind of structure. This is where charter comes in picture. So assume a charter is like a mission. So when Columbus started exploring the world, he wouldn't have just, taken his man, taken a ship, and just sailed away anywhere. He had a purpose in mind. So he knows which part of the world he wants to explore. What is he looking for? Is he looking for some treasure for the country, some food supply, some fresh source of water? And how long are they planning to explore in that area? Are they planning to explore it indefinitely or move somewhere else after a few days or few minutes? Okay. In testing terms, we do the same thing where we say, what feature I want to explore? What am I exploring it for? Am I looking for happy flow? Am I looking for error validations, SQL injection, or just some surprises that you see in logs or somewhere else? And how much time are you willing to spend on it? So again, it's a flexible framework where you can decide your short, medium, and long duration. Uh, I usually divide it in this structure depending on the complexity of the feature, depending upon my familiarity with the feature and the product that I'm working on. So you can customize it based on your need. It's not a hard coded steps that you have to follow. It's more like a framework that you can structure it based on how you want to go. 15 minutes to go. Thank you, Mahesh. Okay. And this is the syntax I follow with Charter. Explore a target with the resources I have in hand to discover some information. So if I'm exploring something, this would be a good charter. Explore editing profile with injection attack to discover security vulnerability. So I know I'm only focusing on one particular component with one particular goal in mind. Another would be, sorry, a typo issue over here. So this should be explore login page with various login method to discover surprises. So these days we support login through so many ways. You can log in from Google, Twitter, GitHub, normal username and password. And while we are giving so many options to the user to log in from, we have to make sure behind the scene we are consistent, we are storing consistent information, we are encrypting every information no matter which login method users are choosing from. So this is just one of my component of checking a good charter where I cover 3-4 different login method. A bad charter would be explore editing last name with a value de Silva to discover support of apostrophe. Now this is too specific. This is a test scenario where you are checking if your last name field has a special character validation or not. So if it is just one time thing, it becomes a test scenario. It's not a charter. Charter is slightly bigger than a scenario where you are creating a group of tests where you say, I want to identify this group as a whole and how it reacts. And again, another bad example of charter would be you want to evaluate your system security through all the security tools that are available. This is too broad. This would never end. Okay. So based on your short, medium, long duration, you can identify a component of your product that you want to evaluate and what are you evaluating for. So if you are evaluating an endpoint to create an event, are you evaluating it just for the happy flow using different field dependencies? Are you evaluating it for error validation for all the field? Are you evaluating it for security vulnerability? Okay, so it's a component. It's not a suite. It's a component that you are targeting with a purpose in mind. And again, I usually draft my own charters, but I can miss some information. So I use this new technique called few shots prompting where I go to GPT saying, you are an exploratory tester using session-based test management. I want you to come up with charters for this requirement. And I give it the syntax. I tell it what's good, what's bad. So it can give me the appropriate result. And this is what GPT returns to me. check for valid data, check for invalid data, edge case, future past date, special characters, heavy load, multiple localization, which I didn't consider because TTT is global. There are people accessing this endpoint from many part of the world. How would the endpoint react? What would be the latency and how much time would it take to process the request? And again, some more details that it gives, like what are we trying to achieve in each and every charter. So this was the heavy part of my session. The rest of them are quite small. So I will take 5 more minutes and then we will go to Q&A. If you have any questions you want to ask, put it in Q&A. I hope there is an upvote feature so we can take some of the highest voted questions from there. Okay. So once we know how to go about it, now we just have to execute and generate test ideas. So for test execution, there are so many tools available for UI testing, UI exploration, which are mentioned on the left. Because I deal with API, there is not much options for me. So the image that you see on the right is a structure which I have created for myself, where I list down what are my prerequisites for the session, any notes that I'm taking, the bugs which I have found, and I track them to share it with my stakeholder. How much time did I consume? And this is what a charter looks like, where I identify the higher segment and I drill them down. If I'm doing some validation, I would say what I'm validating, what works, what doesn't work, why it doesn't work, and I mark them with bugs and some emoji icons to share, oh, it's in progress or it's still ongoing. To generate test idea, there is this platform called Kusho AI that I use, and you just feed in your curl request or your payload, and it gives you so many tests which you can run from the app itself. I don't do it. I'm just doing it for idea generation. So just for the requirement that we saw before, TTT event, I think it gave me around 200 plus scenarios. So AI can give you a lot of information, but again, it comes down to your experience on what do you want to prioritize. Okay. This is a test heuristic checklist or a cheat sheet given by Ministry of Testing. It tells you everything you have to know about a particular data type. So for strings, what all things you can test, overall, what all things you can do. It's a big page, it's a big blog, so you can check it out. And the last thing is 37 sources for test ideas. If you don't have any context of the product, if you don't have any access to product management, your requirement doc, product document, you can generate test ideas by looking at this document. It tells you different properties or different aspect of a product that you can look at while working on it and come up with test ideas while testing at runtime, which is what exploratory testing tells us to do. And in the end, this is the metrics that I use, TBS. How much time did I invest in testing? How much time went in bug investigation? How much time did I utilize to set up my session so that I can start testing? And this is a great video from Juka on YouTube, where what she does is she captures those information and she creates this neural network that you see on the right. So it tells us like, okay, this was my initial session. I invested uh, almost, let's say, 30% of my time in setting up something. Did it help me in the next charter? Did I spend more time on testing rather than doing the setup activity? So you can create all this graph wherever you see you are spending more time on setup rather than testing. You can automate those parts. You can sync with your developers, DB team, DevOps. You can write a script to get something done quickly for you so you don't end up spending so much time. And this is how I share my progress. You can create a list of tasks in your project management tool. You can prioritize them so people know in what priority you will be working on it. If not, you can again create your own low-tech dashboard. Again, this is shared by James Beck. It's an idea by James Beck. and I created this mind map where I put in all the titles, priority, how is it going, what's the progress. So if someone asks you, how much time would you take to test something, this is the place you want to refer to. You know how much time your charter would take: 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. You can sum up the time, you can tell them, okay, I still need 3 more hours to test this, and then I'll let you know the overall result. And while we are doing it, uh, there is something called session briefing that you do periodically with your team, with your manager. You tell them how your testing is going with proper insight. You tell them what is blocking you, what issues have you found. This happens in parallel, not at your end of the testing. So they can help you out with solving some of your setup issues. They can build a script for you, or we can treat it on a priority for the next sprint. They can help you fix something which is blocking you. So you're raising early risk, early flags to them. Okay. And these are some good references. And with that, I conclude my talk. I know I was a bit fast in the end because of time constraint. Usually this was meant to go for 1.5, 2 hours. I hope you guys got the crux of the whole thing. I have added my LinkedIn over here. If you have any questions, anything that is still confusing you, reach out to me and we can discuss it over there. Or we can use TTT Discord channel where everyone is involved. People can discuss it together rather than just one on one. Okay. Any questions that I can help you with? I don't see anything in Q&A, anything in. Hey Arun.
Yeah. Hi. So I think folks not able to see. Can you please check, Derek, if the Q&A tab is working? Else, what we can do for now is, folks, you can ask question in the chat itself. Um, and I'm not sure if this particular event platform have the privilege to upvote the question, but if you are seeing a question and you feel that okay, this is one of the question which even you want to ask, you can type a reply to that question by. Do we have a option to? No, we don't have an option to. Okay, we have. Oh, we have an option to upvote also. Okay, folks, I'll request everyone to upvote the question. We are short on time, but still, how do you? First question is asked by Pankaj. The question is, how do you decide the coverage percentage?
I don't calculate a coverage percentage. So whatever I'm doing, I usually sync with my developers, my project manager, what we are trying to test, what we are trying to deliver. Based on that, I come up with scenarios at runtime. So I don't have a percentage to check what I have tested. I can only tell them what risk did I see while evaluating the product. So I don't use any sort of statistics while doing it.
Awesome. We'll take two more questions. The next question is asked by Rajesh. Can we get the reference? Rajesh, can you please brief about what sort of uh, reference you're asking for? The next question is, how do you decide which AI platform to use for software testing?
Whatever your company allows. If not, I have tested 3 models. I have tested GPT, Gemini, Copilot with same models. And so far, GPT has given me more structured answer the way I wanted it compared to other platform. So I do my comparison, what works for me. You can do it for yourself and decide which platform aligns with more what you're looking for.
Awesome. Rajesh, we're asking for the presentation, if we can refer it again.
Presentation I won't be able to share because this is on my company's account. If there is a recording that we can share for the event, then probably Arun can
Yeah,
answer.
I think I think we will be uploading this session on YouTube, so you folks can go and check the session post. this event. It will take some time, but for sure we will be doing that. Folks, I'll request everyone to like post rest of the question in the Discord community. Kunal is there. You can tag Kunal, and he will respond to that question. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Kunal. I loved your reference at the start uh, about traveler and tourist. And at the first moment, I was like, okay, where are we going? And then you stated, okay, how testing is done. That was amazing. Awesome. I think folks will be asking you questions in the Discord community itself. Thanks a lot for taking on time once again. And we will surely meet soon and will surely host you in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you, Arun, for having me, and thank you for all the questions. See you soon.
Yeah.